Today on New England Living, from farm to table, we're foraging for adventure with a kayak trip to Rockport's Straighstmouth Island. And we're visiting a farm in north central Massachusetts for a look at farmstead cheesemaking. Plus, we're getting a modern lesson in the time-honored art of bonsai. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England is full of adventure. I can't believe you guys are letting me do this. Up and away.
Look at that. Oh, you just did your first takeoff.
Join me as we discover the people and places that make us so unique.
This is it. You can't find it anywhere else in North America.
I mean, does it get any better than this? Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. Coming up, we're heading to Rockport for a deep-sea kayak trip to one of the North Shore's best hidden gems with North Shore Adventures, Clay Kern. We're here in Rockport at one of the most scenic locations in all of Massachusetts, motif number 1 right behind us. So many people visit this area to see it by land, but you're offering something totally unique, and they can see this area from a completely different perspective.
Yeah, no doubt. We get hundreds of thousands of tourists that come here every year. Most of them come to go shopping, but also to see the sights and the scenes. And it's one thing to see the ocean from the land, but to see the land from the ocean is a whole different perspective that very few people get to see. And so to help them be able to experience that is really awesome.
You have a number of adventure tours here. What are some of the experiences that you offer?
Yeah, so we do 2-hour tours and 3.5-hour tours. People get out there and they just really have a great time on the water. We get you in a kayak, we see how you're doing, and then if you are doing well, we take you out into the open ocean, usually to one of the islands that we have out here. I'm looking for seals or seabirds or hiking up to the lighthouse. The lighthouses out on the islands are actually open during the summer, so you can actually climb all the way up, like 150 some stairs, and just get a beautiful, beautiful view.
Once we get to the island, prepare me a little bit for what we're going to be doing, because we're going to be foraging and getting our own berries. Right?
We are. Right now, we've got a lot of things getting ripe, so we'll be finding some blueberries, some June berries, hopefully some raspberries. It's just going to be a smorgasbord of delicious berries this time of the year. We're gonna stay on the right side here. Same with rules of the road.
This view with all these boats is absolutely stunning.
We're gonna be heading straight out of the harbor here. So it's about a mile paddle. It usually takes about half an hour to get there. So this is one of 3 beaches here in Rockport. This is Old Garden Beach. It's the most popular scuba diving destination in Cape Ann. A lot of people go diving for lobsters, looking for sea anemones, sea urchins.
This is a lot more relaxing and peaceful than I thought it would be.
It's a whole different experience than whitewater kayaking.
And you make it easy for someone like me who's never done it before.
Right.
And each tour, how long does it typically take?
Most people go on our 2-hour tour, which is our coastal tour. The nice thing about the coastal tour is the main goal is to enjoy yourself, take a nice, slow, leisurely paddle, see the sights. The 3.5-hour tour goes out looking for seals out of those salvages, the rocks that you see way out there, or to Thatcher Island.
We've been to a lot of places on this show, and we've been to Rockport a couple times, but this is the first time we've seen it like this. Woo! We made it!
Success!
Success! That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Woo-hoo!
So this is Straighstmouth Island,
This is Straighstmouth Island. We're gonna go up the stairways here. Just be careful, hold on to the rustic ropes on the sides.
Okay, it is rustic.
Absolutely. This was the original stairway from the original keepers that used to live out here to take care of the lighthouses.
It adds to the adventure, I like it. This is perfect for the bird watcher or the plant lover out there.
It is. Most of the island is actually owned by Mass Audubon, and so they specifically try to maintain the island for peak bird habitat. So we got to our first giant high bush blueberries. So these big trees that you see here are actually blueberries. The normal blueberries that you buy at the grocery store are a direct descendant of these. The blueberries themselves, which are just getting ripe.
One blue one. Who's gonna get it? This is awkward. All right, fine, I'll take it. And I can try it?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Verdict is...
It's very good. Delicious.
These blueberries, as you can see how thick they are and how tall, I think they're what, 10 feet tall. They're probably close to 100 years old, believe it or not.
I mean, look at this right here. This is amazing.
Gorgeous, gorgeous view. And you can really see the Sandy Bay breakwater really well out there. So very few people get to see it from this exposure.
I mean, this is incredible. You have to work for this view, but it's worth it.
Absolutely. All right, Rachel, we're gonna continue on to the lighthouse.
Great. All right, we're obviously getting closer to the lighthouse.
There's a sign, there's a sign.
Big hint.
Ooh, we got some ripe raspberries over here. So these are red raspberries. There's several different species. But these ones are just getting ripe. We both get to share them this time.
Just a little one. Very tasty.
Very, yeah.
We're getting a whole meal
Raspberry
out of this
cobbler.
walk. We're well on our way to a full pie or something.
We got another berry that we were talking about earlier. This is the Juneberry, and it's also known as the serviceberry or shadbush. They are delicious and nutritious. So the darkest purple ones mean they're really ripe. If they're nice red, they're still pretty good.
Ooh, I see a really ripe one here.
So the deepest, darkest purple you can find.
Yep, there we go. This is the winner.
It's gonna be good.
Delicious.
So we got another thing you taste on the island. Now we actually have some spices. So this is wild mustard. Traditionally, they would use the seeds to make mustard, but you can also eat the flowers, and it's very horseradishy.
This is good. This tastes just like spicy mustard.
It's amazing to put on a sandwich, burgers, or whatever. So this is the moment that we have been waiting for.
This is it.
Straighstmouth Light. It's open today, so we're gonna go out and check it out.
I mean, look at this view. This is incredible. As far as experiences go, it doesn't get any more New England than that. We had lighthouses, we had kayaking, and now we're ending it on a lobster trap. I feel like that's very fitting. Thanks for everything. That was incredible.
You are very welcome. It really never gets old just exposing people to the beautiful things that we have around here, and sometimes we take for granted. So thanks for coming.
Coming up after the break, we're learning all about a growing social trend mixing beer and bonsai when New England Living returns. Welcome back to New England Living. I'm Rachel Holt. Up next, we're heading to Scituate, Rhode Island to meet with Bonsai Bar founder and tree EO, Tim Arsenault. Tim, we're at the greenhouse in Rhode Island where all of your beloved bonsai trees are growing and getting their start. First of all, where does this passion come from?
Yeah, I stumbled upon bonsai. Luckily, it was a botanical garden. There was a local bonsai show going on, and I was like, wow, tiny trees, this is so cool. Obviously, it's gotten completely out of control now.
I would say so. There's a lot of trees in here.
Yeah, thousands, yep. Yeah.
What makes you so passionate about this?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, for me, it's always been a great escape from the stresses in life, like being able to work on tiny trees, to like get your hands in the dirt, and year after year seeing these trees you've cared for mature and get bigger. And it's literally like watching your own children grow.
I read online, and we all know the internet is never wrong, that bonsai trees can live to over 1,000 years old. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Bonsai trees are meticulously cared for, so really kind of pampered once we have them there. They can live to be incredibly old. I know that there are bonsai trees that are known to be 3, 4, maybe even 500 years old with a lineage, in Japan of being cared for. But there are also trees that are incredibly old before they become bonsai. So it's very popular to collect trees from the mountains that have been naturally dwarfed by their settings, and then collect trees and then put them into a bonsai pot.
What is Bonsai Bar? What is this concept and how does it work?
Yeah, so Bonsai Bar is a pop-up beginner bonsai workshop that we hold at breweries, wineries, distilleries, and the like. It's a 2-hour workshop. You come in and we give you everything you need to make your first bonsai. We walk you through potting your first tree into its own ceramic container and then styling it. And then we teach you how to care for that tree afterwards so you can start into this awesome hobby.
What kinds of trees are you using? Because even as a bonsai rookie, I can tell that there's some different types here.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, as many types of bonsai as there are plants in the world, but what we use mainly is the dwarf jade that you see here is a succulent tree from the desert. Succulents are absolutely one of the easiest plants to care for. They're used to harsh conditions and not being watered as much. They survive really well. And then we have a second species of tree, a dwarf umbrella tree, which is a very common, actually used as a house plant. So it's another tree that likes being indoors, likes being cared for there. So they're both very, very resilient and are very easy to care for.
You have thousands of plants in here, so I'm going to ask you a tough question. Can you show us your favorite ones?
Yeah, well, I love all my children the same, including my trees, but I do have some with some very interesting backstories.
Coming up on the first favorite here, what's the story behind this one?
So this is the tree that started it all for me. So I made this tree in a beginner bonsai course 6 years ago, and this is the same species we use for our beginner trees. So I love bringing this to classes and showing people this tree looked just like your tree. It's the tree that I've had in my collection the absolute longest.
I think I can make this no problem.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
I believe so. Great, and then this one right here, this one's special to me. The very first bonsai bar that I did was for my parents and neighbors and friends at my grandparents' house, and this is the first tree that I ever made there, so about 2 years on here. Love to show that one off as the tree that started Bonsai Bar off.
A very convincing tree, I can
Yeah.
tell.
And
And
then-
last but not least,
Yeah, so this is a much different one. This tree here, so this is a ponderosa pine. This is a tree that I collected myself in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. So this tree could be somewhere between 100 to 300 years old, but it was naturally dwarfed because it was growing in a crack on a granite outcropping in the Rockies there. It's a very special tree for me.
they're all very different.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of diversity with what you can make in bonsai.
And now for the fun part. Let's go to the bar so I can take one of these classes and learn how to do this.
Let's go grab a beer.
Okay. With a newfound appreciation for these miniature trees, I made my way up to Trillium Canton for my own private bonsai workshop. So we're at Trillium, we have our beers, we have our bonsai, we're ready to go. What's the first step here?
All right, well, let's just get into it. Let's look at our trees. And the first thing is, obviously, we're gonna need to get this tree to fit in our beautiful little pots we have here. We're gonna need to reduce a lot of the root ball. So let's take these out. This is our dish bin here is for catching all the dirt. So get everything out of there that we're gonna use through this thing.
Oh, we're gonna get a little dirty, are we?
It's gonna
Okay.
be, yeah, we're gonna
Good to know.
we're gonna get a little bit dirty. That's part of the fun. We'll get everything out of here. So one important thing, we've got these care cards here that have instructions on how to take care of the tree. Great to remember this to bring home. Most important thing now is getting it over your drink. Because if you don't get dirt in your beer, I will.
Yeah, we don't want that. We
That's
don't
the
want that.
last warning there. So yeah, absolutely. So what we can do here, take our trees, we can get them out of these nursery pots that they came in. Get those out of the way. Yeah, and then we're
Ooh,
just
look at
gonna
that.
obviously need to reduce it pretty significantly here. So we have these chopsticks that we're gonna use to just start digging away the dirt. Let's just start digging from the top down, get our root ball a little bit more manageable. We're trying to find the first big roots that come out of the trunk. So we wanna place those on the top of the surface, make it look like a big ancient tree with that nice exposed root flare, like you'd see in a wild tree.
This is the part where I think will probably be the fun part, is designing.
Yes,
How do you
absolutely.
go about this?
Yeah, this is the payoff, everybody's favorite part. So we've got two things that we can continue to do to the tree to advance its design, and it corresponds to the tools we have left here. Obviously, we have the scissors. Being able to cut off or cut back branches and foliage that we don't need is a big part of bonsai. But the second part that most people don't know about and tends to be everyone's favorite part of bonsai, using this wire. So we can use the wire to actually bend and move the branches into new spaces. So we use it as a training aid. We wrap it around the branch and it'll hold the branch into a new location.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can really change the look and feel of the tree.
This is very relaxing. I feel very zen right now.
Yeah, you know, there's something about getting into the soil, having the greenery in front of you that can be really relaxing. So we always have a really good time. The beer helps too.
The beer helps.
Yeah.
But you know, this is really intimidating doing this right next to you, the expert here, so.
It's all right, there's no wrong in bonsai.
All right, I'm feeling really good about this.
Yeah, it's a great looking tree here. So it's one of the key parts of bonsai is knowing when to stop and saying, all right, you're good. And now the tree can take time to recover from the repotting process and grow back. And it's its chance to grow into the new shape that we've given it.
For the next couple hundred years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's lovely.
Coming up after the break, from tree farm to cheese farm, we're visiting a family-owned business in North Central Mass, making farmstead cheeses and dairy products right in their own backyard. When New England Living returns. Welcome back to New England Living. Up next, we're in Winchendon, Mass. with Allie Catlin, co-owner of Smith's Country Cheese. You got into this with a love of farming and a passion for farming, but no previous experience doing them. How did that lead to you owning and operating Smith's Country Cheese?
We heard that Smith's Country Cheese was up for sale about 8 years ago. And we called Dave Smith out of the blue. This was the previous owner. And we said, you don't know us and we don't know you, but we're really interested in learning how you farm. We decided to learn the trade for 18 months. And then eventually we left our jobs and sold our home. We have 44 acres. We have about 200 cows right now, so we're milking about 160. So behind us is our farm where we have all the cows' beds and their happy homes. And we also have a lot of huts that have our compost in them. So one of the byproducts of cows, of course, is manure, and we make certified organic compost with that. Come up the road just a little bit and you're at our creamery where we have our country store and our production facility. It's all in the same building. We have our aging room, a few cold rooms to store all of our product, and our processing room.
Cheese and shopping. You're combining two of my great loves here. What can we find in your store?
Well, of course, you can find our products. All of our cheeses, milk, and butters are here, but we are also very proud to offer local products made by other artisans. So we have some wonderful Massachusetts wines, candles, and a lot of gift products here.
This process starts really early in the morning, 4 a.m., you're milking the cows, and everything happens here on site. What are all the steps in the process?
So beginning around 3 a.m., my husband and my brother-in-law unfortunately have the job of waking up early along with our milkers, and they give the cows fresh bedding and a lot of food, make sure they're comfortable to start the day, and then we begin the milking process. By 6 a.m., we have enough milk, which is usually about 10,000 pounds, to make cheese that day. So one of the guys will fill up a tanker with that and bring a tractor right up to our creamery, which is just up the hill from our farm, and we will begin making cheese. So you're gonna slowly start heating up your milk until you get the right temperature. We're going to add our culture, which is our good bacteria that starts making that delicious cheese. And then we're gonna add the rennet, which is the coagulant, and that will make it almost like a pudding texture. At that time, we will cut the curd, and what will happen is you will see these little forms of curd separate from the whey, and we'll begin a stirring process, and we'll heat those curds with hot water very gently. They're very fragile at that point. While that's stirring and mixing with water, we have to actually go along the vat with a squeegee and stir it so that nothing burns and it all remains at a consistent temperature. We'll drain the whey, and you'll be left with the curds. So we will begin quickly packing those curds into our forms. So if it's cheddar, it's a little bit of a different process and it goes into blocks. And if it's Gouda, it goes into wheels. Those will get pressed for about 2 hours. And by the end of the day, you have wheels of cheese. We throw those into a brine, which is like a nice salty bath, for 48 hours. When those come out, they sit on a shelf and dry, and they get turned daily. They get a lot of loving care. And then we will let those age for 60 days. And at that point, we'll send a random sample from every batch that we make to a food safety lab. And those get tested for pathogens, all those bad bugs you don't want in your food. We will not sell our cheese until we have that negative result from the lab. We will make around 1,000 pounds of cheese per day. Usually 10,000 pounds of milk come up, and we're lucky if we get 1,000 pounds worth of wheels.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around how much cheese that is. You must be one of the biggest cheese providers in the state.
We are. We're very proud to say that we are one of the biggest producers in Massachusetts. We make Gouda, cheddar, Havarti. We also make Gouda spreads, which are a fun twist on our Gouda. And we now bottle our own milk and make our own cultured butter. It's been a dream of ours for years to make butter. So we start the process 24 hours before we make the butter. We have our fresh milk come up from the farm and we separate it so that we're left with the cream at the end of the day. That's the good stuff we want for butter. We mix in a special butter culture, which not every butter maker needs to do, but we do it because it adds a little bit of flavor and some natural probiotics. We let that cream sit overnight, and then the following morning we begin churning. My sister-in-law is our butter expert here, and she will churn that cream starting in the morning, and by the end of the day she'll have about 40 pieces of fresh salted butter. We use only flaky sea salt, and we also make some new fun flavors.
One of the things that I really love is you invite people to come here and check out the cheesemaking process in action through a viewing window. It seems like transparency is a big part of what you do.
It is. We want our customers to see how the cheese is made and the care that goes into it. Food safety is really important to us, so we want everyone to feel comfortable knowing that we put a lot of care into that each day. So by being able to see every step of the process, from when we milk the cows to when we form the wheels, we want them to see how much care goes into it.
One of the things that's really important to you is sustainable farming. What are some of the practices that you have in place here?
It is very important to us. The roof of our creamery is covered with solar panels, and we're very fortunate because 70% of our hot water needs are met with that solar panel, and 30% of our electrical needs are met with that. And you use a lot of both when you make cheese and care for cows.
Your team here, you're waking up at 3 a.m., the work doesn't stop throughout the day, and then you're back at it the next day. What makes you love what you do so much?
I think a lot of it is that we made the choice to get into this. We had wonderful, steady jobs prior to this, and we made the switch to farming because we found it so gratifying and we wanted our kids to grow up experiencing this lifestyle. So when we wake up every morning and it's early, it's still really gratifying because we love who we work with, we love the product that we put out, and we care about our customers. Our children eat this food, and we know how important it is to have fresh local food. So we're very passionate about this lifestyle.
Forget about Wisconsin. What makes the cheese here in Massachusetts and New England so special?
We're a very small group, but we're a mighty group, and we stick together. And supporting one small cheesemaker is supporting all of us. The folks who get up early in the morning and are making cheese really care about their product. So we've learned that even though we're small, Massachusetts cheesemakers make a wonderful product.
Coming up after the break, we're heading to Boston's North End for a lesson in crafting the perfect after-dinner drink when New England Living returns. Welcome back to the show. Up next, our mixologist shares a recipe for the perfect after-dinner cocktail. We're here at Preza in the North End, and I am joined by Craig Carpenter. And Craig, you're making the M&M for us today, which is the perfect after-dinner drink. What goes into this?
Yeah, so we're working today with Amaro Montenegro. This is a digestivo. It's made from 40 different botanicals, and this has a little bit of a nutty flavor to it, which I think goes well in any cocktail, but this one specifically. And then we're working with Rosa Luna Mezcal. And Mezcal is kind of a cousin of tequila. It's been smoked. The difference is that the agave has been smoked in oven pits for 3 days, so it has this nice smoky characteristic to it.
A lot of people will drink the Montenegro on its own. What will it do when it's paired with the Mezcal?
This drink is the perfect blend of smoothness and smokiness that is really pleasing to anyone who's looking for an after-dinner cocktail. We are going to be serving this on one big cube, by the way.
It looks a little fancier that way.
It does.
It does. And who is this the perfect drink for?
So this drink, I think this is perfect for anybody who likes their digestivo after dinner, but wants to explore the cocktail world, or somebody who's a tequila drinker, but wants to try something different than their normal sipping tequila. I think it's great for both of those worlds. And then we're gonna garnish it with an orange.
Just to make it a little healthier. And that looks so refreshing and delicious. And to find out this recipe, head to our website, newenglandliving.tv. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. For more on the show or anything you've seen here today, visit us at newenglandliving.tv and follow us on social media. I'm Rachel Holt. See you next time on New England Living.